A man, who was once an exorcist, suffers until he faces a demon that is freed. The night exists between real and unreal, their struggle to stop the resurrection of the demon has begun. 5. About 2.5 millennium ago, 2,500 years, a monster crossed the bridge from hell to the human realm to create human suffering. Buddha ripped both the red eye and the black eye from the monster and locked them inside different era caskets. Before the red eye surrendered to Buddha, it ran away for 7 days by hiding inside human bodies. On the 8th day, the red eye looked back. Knowing that it could not escape Buddha, it surrendered itself. The eyes were buried in the cliffs of the Far East and the desert of the Far West. Buddha instructed his disciples to make sure they would never meet. In the present, Professor Kim Tae-hyoung, Choi Jin-ho, sets out in the desert to prove the existence of the era caskets. He finds a relic which is presumed to be one of the caskets. However, the scientific community declares his findings to be fraudulent, and he is shunned by all. 14 years later, Professor Kim, now a bitter individual, is determined to prove the truth of his discovery by reuniting the black eye and red eye. He opens the casket and pours 6 vials of blood into it along with his own. Before Professor Kim is about to give up, the red eye emerges from the casket, presumably possessing Professor Kim. In Gwangju, Ban Tae-hyoung, Lee Eol, protector of the black eye casket, realizes the red eye has reawakened. He tells a young monk, Chong-seok, Nam Da-reum, the legend of the monster with 2 eyes. Later that night, Ban Tae-hyoung tells Chong-seok that the red eye has awakened and will soon reunite with the black eye. They must slay at least the 7th pillar, the virgin shaman, to prevent the red eye from reuniting with the black eye. Chong-seok must find Ban Tae-hyoung, Lee Sung-min, and inform him of the situation. The following morning, Chong-seok finds Ban Tae-hyoung dead, who presumably died in his sleep. Chong-seok finds the era casket beside the dead monk. Meanwhile, in Chilgok, the red eye takes over a hunter and goes into a motel where a couple was seen checking in. The woman tells her boyfriend about a meditation group where she was given a free health checkup and a blood test. The hunter presumably attacks the couple who checked into the secluded motel. Detectives Kim Ho-tae and Dong-jin investigate the scene and find the hunter's body dried and decomposed after just a few hours. Cameras show that the woman was seen leaving the hotel. Later on, the very same woman is found in another location, her body found in a similar state as that of the hunters. Due to the bizarre condition of the 2 victims, Dong-jin suggests the help of a virgin shaman that he knows. However, being a skeptic, Kim refuses the idea. Chong-seok leaves Gwangju in search for Ban Tae-hyoung. Unfortunately, he had lost his bag containing the casket and some money. He presumed that it was taken by a young girl, Kim Yoo-jung, who disappeared into the crowd. Chong-seok finds Sinhwa, who is now a construction worker using his real name, Park Jin-soo, and tells him, via writing, due to his vow of silence, of what happened in Gwangju. In his flashbacks, it is revealed by Ha-young's spirit that Sinhwa left the monastery as he didn't want to be Ha-young's successor. Sinhwa also neglected his duty of helping lost souls ascend, so their countless souls are clinging to his back. The following morning, Sinhwa prepares to leave and search for the 7th pillar with Chong-seok following him. Sinhwa presumes that the 7th pillar is the virgin shaman with which the monks of Gwangju are acquainted. Sinhwa treats Chong-seok well, even buying him a new pair of shoes. Chong-seok thanks Sinhwa, accidentally breaking his vow of silence. Meanwhile, the red eye had already planned to move on from the woman at the motel. A delivery man answers her call as both of them were members of a meditation group. The red eye then passes on to the delivery man, and later, Detective Kim is called to see the body of a woman stuffed in a sewer. The woman is also found decomposed and drained like the first 2 victims. A motorcycle and delivery cargo is also found abandoned nearby. Before boarding the bus, Sinhwa was visited again by Ha-young's spirit. It is revealed that Chong-seok's mother accidentally ran over Sinhwa and his wife and daughter. His wife and child died, compelling Sinhwa to live a life as a monk in Gwangju. When Chong-seok's mother died, she wrote a letter to Sinhwa asking him to adopt Chong-seok. Sinhwa does so, but leaves him in Gwangju. He then left the monastery and his duties, never becoming an ordained monk. As they arrived, Sinhwa tells Chong-seok to search for shaman services around the area, hoping to find the virgin shaman. Upon learning of the recent bizarre murder, Sinhwa goes to the tunnel where the woman and delivery motorcycle was found. Detective Kim stops him, asking for Sinhwa's credentials and ran his ID for any criminal records. When Kim asks Sinhwa to open his bag, which contained an axe, Sinhwa tried to run away. The two got into a scuffle, and Sinhwa was forced to leave his map. Chong-seok finds the house of the virgin shaman, and a young woman lets her in. She was the same young woman who took his belongings, but Chong-seok grew fond of her. Chong-seok leaves, but as soon as he stepped outside, he sees a student staring at him. The student revealed the red eye, being the sixth pillar. Chong-seok runs away in fear, and meets with Sinhwa to inform him of what happened. Sinhwa tells Chong-seok to go back home, and reveals that he has to kill the young woman who he believes to be the seventh pillar and the virgin shaman. They go on their separate ways, but Chong-seok went back to the virgin shaman and took the virgin shaman away. Meanwhile, Dongjin informs Kim of Sinhwa's past. They were also able to connect the victims together. They were all members of a meditation group that Professor Kim had set up, and Dongjin had actually went to see one of them who was still alive, a woman who was the same virgin shaman Chong-seok unknowingly went to. Dongjin had a talisman with his own blood made, thanks to the virgin shaman he met earlier, and gives it to Kim. It turns out that Kim saved Dongjin from committing suicide, and he was indebted to Kim. Kim had Dongjin leave while he uses Sinhwa's map to see if he could track down Sinhwa. Sinhwa finds the house of the virgin shaman, but the lady inside points to a note. When Sinhwa confronts the lady, she strapped her face with talismans and Sinhwa prepared to strike her down. Detective Kim arrives in time to stop him, and the two squared off once more. Before Kim handcuffed Sinhwa, the possessed student arrived and threw him away, with the talisman he got from Dongjin protecting him from further harm. The student realizes that the young woman had already left, and Sinhwa follows her, inscribing a talisman on his axe using his own blood. However, the student runs into Dongjin, tricking the young detective to protect her from Sinhwa. She possesses Dongjin, and dries and decomposes. Dongjin doesn't kill Sinhwa, but tells him to head back to Gwangju, where he will die. Meanwhile, Chong-seok took the young woman to Gwangju, and Sinhwa and the possessed Dongjin arriving later. Detective Kim went back to the virgin shaman's house, and it is revealed that the lady who nearly died was the actual virgin shaman, and that the young woman Chong-seok was with is actually a ghost that she found living with Professor Kim. The real virgin shaman reveals that her name was Hae-joon, who was an abused child that was saved by Professor Kim. Professor Kim had groomed her to be the sacrifice that will assist the monster from reuniting its two eyes. Professor Kim also tricked the members of the meditation group into donating their blood, via the free blood tests, in order to use their blood to summon the red eye, and later becoming the 7 stepping stones. Hae-joon latched onto the virgin shaman, and she used her to trick Dongjin into giving his own blood, so he could be possessed later on in lieu of the virgin shaman. It was also this virgin shaman, possessed by Hae-joon, who took the casket Chong-seok was carrying days ago. Detective Kim leaves to Gwangju in search for Dongjin. Sinhwa finds Chong-seok in an abandoned shack, and the young monk realizes that he was all alone from the start, with the casket being in his possession. Sinhwa instructs Chong-seok of their plan to trap Dongjin, let the red eye possess him instead, and Chong-seok delivering the killing blow. The plan goes well, and they managed to trap Dongjin inside. However, Dongjin revealed that neither Hae-joon nor the virgin shaman were the 7th pillar he needed. Hae-joon's purpose was to bewitch the 7th pillar, Chong-seok. Because Sinhwa left the monastery and didn't become Ha-young's successor, the title was transferred to Chong-seok. This meant that only Chong-seok has the ability to open the casket containing the black eye. Dongjin orders the ghost of Hae-joon to find Chong-seok, who was hiding nearby. Still bewitched, Hae-joon was able to remove Chong-seok's robe, which had a talisman Sinhwa made. Dongjin orders Sinhwa to shoot himself for being such a failure in life, but Sinhwa shoots Dongjin instead, though futile. Chongseok runs away from the possessed Dongjin, and encounters Detective Kim. Detective Kim tries to stop Dongjin but was again thrown violently to the side, once again protected by Dongjin's talisman in his pocket. Sinhwa manages to shoot Dongjin's weak left leg. But Dongjin crawls to Chongseok in pursuit. Sinhwa delivers a killing blow to Dongjin's back, but he got shot by Detective Kim. Detective Kim goes over to Dongjin, but his corpse dried and decomposed. The red eye has successfully possessed Chongseok, and it throws Detective Kim onto a sharp branch, killing the detective. As the black eye materializes, the red eye grabs the dying Sinhwa. It transforms itself to a young version of Chongseok, and torments Sinhwa into strangling the young boy, seeing as his mother was the cause of his family's deaths. However, Sinhwa persists, caressing the young boy's cheek. The red eye reverts back to the grown-up Chongseok, and was about to kill Sinhwa with the axe. Sinhwa traps Chongseok's arm while chanting a spell. As he was caressing Chongseok's face, he was actually writing another talisman using his own blood onto Chongseok's face. This forced the red eye to possess Sinhwa, and he asks Chongseok to kill him. Chongseok gathers the courage to do so, killing Sinhwa and stopping the reunion of the red eye and black eye in the process. Chongseok is later seen in the border of India and Pakistan, and returns the casket back to where it was first unearthed. Hae-joon appears before him, and Chongseok offers up his hand. As Hae-joon's spirit grabs Chongseok's hand, the chains on her ankles were unchained, presumably freeing her.